Trump, if he hadn't won the primary, and if he hadn't won the general election, the Republican Party would be broken. He fixed it.
Imagine being convinced by this. Like, again, if I'm a Republican voter and I'm looking at election results from 2018, 2020, 2022, and then I'm looking at the numbers in 2024, I would be pissed. I'd be like, what the why the are we not winning more elections? You know, lest we forget also, he's stepping into the role as a potential vice president. You better hope that Donald Trump doesn't try to literally kill you. Hey, pals, if you're watching this and you enjoy it, click like and comment. It really helps out with the algorithm. Thank you.
I've seen this now, having been in the belly of the beast for all of 2 years, but I really wish that I had been on board earlier, because what Trump dealt with in 2016, it cannot be overstated. And I'm talking about like friends of yours, people he had been friends with for 30 years, calling him and attacking him or going on national television and lying about him. When you challenge this ossified, broken ruling class in this country, there is hell to pay for it. And I've got just a little...
And here's this invented grievance, and you got to make Trump out to be this martyr, and look what the system did to him, and this poor guy, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's just, they make a victim out of him 24/7.
Of the taste of it. I think Donald Trump has gotten 100 times worse than I have, and obviously, you know, he almost got literally killed just 7 weeks ago, and then again like 3 days ago. Trump, if he hadn't won the primary, and if he hadn't won the general election, the Republican Party would be broken. He fixed it and actually created an opportunity for us to build something.
I mean, just imagine imagine being convinced by this. Like, again, if I'm a Republican voter and I'm looking at election results from 2018, 2020, 2022, and then I'm looking at the numbers in 2024, if I'm a Republican voter, I would be pissed. I'd be like, what the when are we going to start winning? We do all this talk about how Trump's this super popular guy and everybody hates Democrats. And why aren't we winning? Why the are we not winning more elections?
That's durable and it can work for the long haul. And I think, you know, so I think I was his first endorser in the United States Senate, and like all of my political advisors are like, why are you doing this? It's way too early in the primary. And it's because having not been on board in 2016.
He didn't learn the lesson. You know who was the first senator to endorse him in 2016? Anybody know the answer to this question? It's a doozy. Come on, you guys are smart. You guys are informed. Come on. It wasn't Jeb. Sessions. Nova Static. Yes. Nova Static. That is impressive. It was Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions was the first senator to come out and endorse Donald Trump in 2016. And what did he get for it? He got the end of his political career within a month of serving in the Trump administration. It was less than a month where he stepped aside, recused himself from the Russia investigation, which gave way to another guy stepping in and appointing a special counsel, Mueller. And then because his lawyers advised that he do that, and he did, Donald Trump wrote him off and then killed his political career. And, you know, lest we forget also, he's stepping into the role as a potential vice president. Well, you better hope that Donald Trump doesn't try to literally kill you.
I realized that the 2024 primary...
This to me is just hubris. Like, he thinks he can come in there and outsmart Trump. I think that is probably the internal calculus. Is his hubris is so high that he feels like he won't make the same mistakes that Pence made. That at every step of the way, he'll make the correct political calculation. Because make no mistake about it, Vance, he has his eyes set on the White House. He wants to be president one day. That's what this is. He wants to springboard from the Trump movement into his own presidency, which is going to be easier for him because he doesn't have to wait 8 years. It's only going to be one term if Trump wins. And he stepped in at a time when Biden was an unpopular president, economic downturn, polls were not looking good for Biden, and Vance probably figured that this was going to be a cakewalk. And all he has to do is survive 4 years as VP under Trump. And you don't have to worry about another January 6th situation because Trump isn't going to be eligible to run in 2028. And so his calculation was probably like, I don't need to worry about the same things that Pence needed to worry about, and as long as I just make the correct move every step of the way, then I can use this to become president. And what did he get for this? Now he's like a historically unpopular vice president candidate. He has no chance of advancing to the head of the Republican primary in 2028. I think this is it for him. You know, he's gonna have like a prolific podcast career after this is done, but he'll never be president.
Would really be this sort of fundamentally
all of this ass kissing and delusion and lying to himself and lying to others, it's for nothing. He's going to get nothing from this. He will only suffer as a result of trying to attach himself to Trump's wagon, which is just such a perfect fitting fate for him. You know what I mean?
no matter who challenged him, and there were a lot of good people fundamentally that challenged him, it would ultimately come down to the old guard.
And, you know, in fairness to him, I think like his reasoning was sound. Like him saying yes to be Trump's VP pick, I think made sense at the time. I think he had a good reason to think like, holy shit, I can use this to become president one day. And then it all changed in like 6 weeks. And now he's out here saying like, well, I don't not believe Mark Robinson. And he's just debasing himself more and more and more at every step of the way. And he's not going to get anything for it. He's not going to get anything for it, you know?
Versus the pro-worker.
In fact, I think there's a decent chance that people will blame him when Trump loses, because they're going to do the whole like Democrats cheated, there was voter fraud, blah, blah, blah. They're going to do that. We know they're going to do that. But you know, 1,000%, you're also going to see people say, you know what? It was Vance. It was Vance that drug him down. We all saw the polls. They started calling him weird, and this is Vance's fault. They're going to find a way to shift blame away from Trump.
Pro-America party. And I just knew that's how the dividing lines would ultimately shake out, because the old guard, because a lot of them knew Donald Trump in business, because a lot of them know that he knows what they're up to, they hate him more than almost anybody. And they hate him because he does actually fight for the American people, and he does actually care about the citizens of his own country. And you can, look, one thing...
All of this groveling, all of this debasing himself for nothing. He's not going to get anything for this.
One thing I'll say about President Trump that is genuinely unique is, look, he obviously is incredibly successful and incredibly wealthy. Like nobody's gonna ever pretend that Donald Trump is a working class person, at least now in his life. But
never in his life. What do you mean? He was working class when he was 19 years old or 18 years old? Really? He was a blue collar guy?
But Trump actually really likes the people that he leads.
Not according to his own staff. According to his own staff, he regularly denigrated his own supporters. Regularly.
And that includes, by the way...
You think Donald Trump wants to get a beer? Or he doesn't drink, rather. You think Donald Trump wants to sit down and have dinner with a single one of his supporters? A single one that make less than $50,000 a year?
That includes, by the way, the people who didn't vote for him. He still really likes those people. And that...
He calls me a demon. He calls liberals and Democrats like demons. Not hyperbole. He calls me like a demon. He thinks I'm a f***ing demon. What do you mean? He likes Democratic voters? He's been out here saying like Jewish people need to get their heads checked because not enough Jews vote for him. He just says that shit. He just says it openly. People pissed and themselves with rage when Biden back in 2020 said, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black, which to be clear was not a very smart thing to say. It's kind of funny. It is funny. It's a very Biden thing to say, but it was pretty stupid of him to say that. Meanwhile, you have Donald Trump out here saying like, Jewish people must be crazy because they don't vote. Enough of them don't vote for me. They need to get their heads checked. They're voting against their own interests, playing into like dual loyalty, actual anti-Semitic tropes. He just says it openly all the time. He has said it like a dozen times on the campaign trail. What's going on with Jewish voters? Why aren't they voting for me more?
That is, I think, what is very different about President Trump versus, frankly, most of America's leadership is when the cameras are off and they don't think anybody's listening, they talk about how much they think their own citizens are dumb, or, well, yeah, the public thinks this because the public doesn't understand economics. Or, well, if the public was just smarter, they would realize how smart Kamala Harris is for wanting to like destroy Social Security and Medicare for illegal immigration, right? They actually think that their own people are stupid and they don't like them. But Donald Trump actually likes people, and I think it's one of the secrets to his success as a political candidate.
Well, watching him order at McDonald's is like one of the most amazing things ever.
It's hysterical.
It's impossible to imagine Carmela, or whatever she's calling herself, Harris.
Carmela?
Like, talk to the lady behind the counter about the differences in quality and weight and price between the Quarter Pounder and the Big Mac. And he has such strong feelings about it. I mean, he's really thought about it a lot.
Well, and again, this goes to his leadership style. Donald Trump actually really cares of what people think.
Yeah.
So he
no shit. He's straight up one of the most fragile world leaders ever. Kamala baited Trump by appealing to his narcissistic tendencies by jabbing at him for crowd size and people leaving his rallies early. He got so triggered, he's still talking about it 2 weeks later. He thinks that he has this fantasy that people are going to look at him like he's this strong leader. In fact, there's a hot mic moment where he talks about Kim Jong-un and like, hold on. Look at this clip, man. I mean, I can't believe this clip is real. I mean, I know it. I obviously can believe it, but listen to this clip.
Are we close to seeing Mr. Kim here at the White House?
Could happen. I mean,
they talked about that yesterday.
I think it's something that could happen. Yeah. Hey, he's the head of a country, and I mean, he is the strong head. Don't let anyone think anything different. Right. He speaks, and his people sit up at attention. I want my people to do the same.
Well,
he's sitting here talking with a Fox News media pundit, lamenting the fact that his people don't sit at attention with the same level of respect, what he thinks is respect, as Kim Jong-un's staff. He really thought in 2016, after he won the election, that the country was going to rally behind him. He really thought that. He's had these interviews and there are these excerpts where you get sort of like a glimpse into his psyche, and he was truly surprised that he didn't get like glowing media attention right away. He felt surprised, taken aback that he was being like attacked so much by the media who were calling him out on the crazy shit he was doing and saying. He really thought he was gonna win re-election in 2020. Truly. And we have former staff members saying that they shielded him from bad polls. So they would only go to him and show him like, hey, sir, look at this new Rasmussen poll. So in Trump's distorted reality in 2020, surrounded by yes men who were only showing him positive polls, he legitimately thought like, oh yeah, I'm gonna win this thing. He had no idea that he was gonna lose. He longs to be respected, and I think he longs to be feared. So when Vance said a moment ago, like, oh, you know, like, this may surprise you, but Trump actually cares about what people think. Well, yeah, he's a narcissist. Why would that surprise anyone?
He has absolutely thought to himself, what is the better value between the Quarter Pounder and the Big Mac? And he actually wants to know what the people who work there think about this question. And by the way, like, I have very strong views about this. Like, obviously the Quarter Pounder is a better deal. Right?
That's absurd. Without secret sauce, it's not even worth going there. But whatever. I mean, you know, honestly.
I mean, the Big Mac like easily clears the Quarter Pounder, but whatever.
People disagree. Marlboro Winston, I get it.
You've allowed yourself to be manipulated by the elites.
You got to get the pickles taken off for sure. Get the pickles out of there. Pickles just ruin Big Macs.
The secret sauce.
Pickles ruin literally everything. Why do people put pickles on a burger? It overpowers every taste. All you can taste is the pickle. Here's what belongs on a burger, okay? Onions and lettuce. And that's it. No tomatoes, no pickles, some bacon. We can put bacon or whatever, some cheese, whatever. My mouth is watering right now.
Sauce is not the thing that matters. It's the amount of meat. You get way more meat with a Quarter Pounder. And it's obviously, again, but look, the point is, okay, so let me give you an example of this. So the Saturday morning that President Trump was shot, I don't know if I've ever talked about this publicly.
Garlic aioli. You know, I like aioli, but like the older I get, the more mayonnaise f- my stomach up because it's just like a ton of fat. It's super greasy. So I can do ketchup. Ketchup is fine, but mayonnaise is just like, I love mayonnaise. Like French fries, I think, here's my hot take. French fries are 10,000 times better with mayonnaise. I mean, ketchup is good with French fries, but it's better with mayonnaise. It's just better with mayonnaise. Like I love mayonnaise. You know what's really good with mayonnaise is artichokes. You steam an artichoke for like, I don't know, like 45 minutes or whatever. And then you take the little artichoke leaves out and you just lather it in mayonnaise and delicious. You get to the heart of the artichoke and you just put like a spoonful of mayonnaise.
I was down in Mar-a-Lago for the first time talking about becoming his vice presidential nominee. And it was kind of these crazy things because all these reporters would stick microphones in my face and say, you know, you're clearly on the short list. And have you talked to President Trump about it? And I'd say, no, I haven't. In fact, I don't even know if I'm actually on the short list because I've never spoken with him. So the Saturday morning, I'm in Mar-a-Lago. We're talking about the VP thing. And he's like, you know, I like to talk to everybody about who should be the VP. Like, you know, I spent about 30 minutes talking to the gardener at Mar-a-Lago about who he thought should be the vice presidential nominee. And I'm sitting there, you know, sweating bullets like, well, sir, what did the gardener at Mar-a-Lago have to say about who should be the VP? Because this is a question that actually really impacts my life. So
Do you know the gardener, or is it just random?
No, just a random.
So Tucker Carlson reportedly was one of the reasons why Trump picked JD Vance, if I'm not mistaken. He was leaning towards Doug Burnham, and I believe it was Elon, Tucker, and Don Jr. that behind the scenes were pushing Trump to pick Vance, which of course they convinced Trump to pick arguably the worst guy he could have picked.
But again, like, he actually likes to know what people think about things. That's one of his secrets of success as a political leader. So anyway, he goes to, Pennsylvania. He doesn't tell me that it's me. He says that it's probably going to be you. I'm like, oh, thanks. That makes me feel great. I'm totally going to sleep great tonight, knowing it's probably going to be me. He flies to Bucks County, Pennsylvania, of course, is nearly assassinated. God bless you guys. And he, then he makes the decision, I think, the next day, or maybe even Monday morning. I don't know, right? I don't know when he actually finally made the decision. Probably was just Monday morning, now that I think about it. You probably know better than I do. Anyway, the point is,
because there was reporting on this, now that I'm remembering, so Tucker knows exactly what he's talking about. He's referring to the fact that Tucker was behind the scenes pressuring Trump to pick Vance.
Again, I actually think that if you care about the
Which just goes to show you just how terrible, like, these people have terrible instincts. Terrible instincts. I mean, Tim Scott was just such a no-brainer nomination. Like, usually you want to pick someone who maybe can help you fill in some gaps. Not that the VP pick is historically all that consequential, but you want to pick somebody who's going to help you fill in the gaps. Like, what gaps is JD Vance helping Trump fill? Trump doesn't need help in Ohio. What appeal is Vance bringing to the ticket that can help, like, widen that tent? Nothing. It was literally just like Vance was tight with a bunch of, like, venture capital guys.
People that you represent and the people that you lead, you should want to know what they think about an issue. And whatever disagreements you might have with President Trump, he genuinely cares about what people think about an issue. And it's why I think he's better plugged into what the electorate thinks than most political candidates.
Helps him fill the gaps between the cushions. True.
I think that's right. The switch up, the disappearance of the president of the United States. Biden is still president, technically, correct?
I don't know.
I don't either, and I really don't know. I don't know what happened to him. He was, like, pretty famous at one point, and then he's just gone.
I saw some clip on social media that, like, Jill Biden was running.
We'll see who's laughing. We will see who is laughing in November. Let them have their little jokes. Biden will go down as a legend. Truly. If she wins, knock on wood, I think she will. If she wins, Biden, his legacy is secure. He will be the guy who stepped in and delivered us from Trump in 2020, and then stepped aside and delivered us from Trump again by stepping aside after helping the country with a soft landing recovery from COVID. And passing just so many policies that I think, like, are popular policies. I just think he's going to go down as a legend. People are making fun of him now, and it's like he's an easy guy to make fun of. But history books will remember him as, he's going to be a legend.
A cabinet meeting. Is that right? Was that real, or was that?
For sure. She's a doctor, JD. Settle down. She's got this, okay? And anyone who hasn't read her dissertation on community colleges in the state of Delaware really should see where the doctorate comes from. She literally has a part of it where she's breaking down the proportion by ethnicity of students, and she's like, it's about 40% Caucasian, about 37% African American, it's another 39% Hispanic, and then another 22% Asian. And I'm like, I'm not good at math, but...
Wait a second.
No, you should read Dr. Jill's dissertation. It's unbelievable. Anyway, she's running the government, just so you know.
Wait, could you not explain that by the fact that, like, people are multiracial or biracial? Wouldn't that be a really easy way to explain that?
I don't think that adds up to 100.
No, it does, like 147, actually. But whatever, she's a doctor. But here's my question, and I don't mean to finger the media in this. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Ew.
I spent my life in a newsroom. It's vulgar, I know.
Okay, I think we're good there. That's a good place to end it.